and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan, and today I'm going to share with you a wildcard team for Game Week 4. But if you are not wildcarding this week, I think this video is going to be super useful for you too, because I put this team together to try and get an idea of what direction I want my team to go in. What kind of players should I be targeting? What am I trying to build towards? So this is not my wildcard team, but if I were to wildcard, I would be making a team just like this. And if you enjoy this one, please do drop a like, do subscribe. Let's have a look at this team. So with unlimited transfers on a wild card and 99.6 million spent, that leaves a little bit in the bank for everyone here. Let's go through player by player, starting off in goal with Ederson, who I still think is the best of the Man City defenders to go for. He's just a player that you can bring into your team, collect those regular clean sheets and not really have to worry about too much. So have him in, leave him in there for the whole season pretty much, and you are going to get plenty of those 6-pointers, and maybe he'll get a few save points at some point or another too. That would be pretty nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, looking at these fixtures, I'm expecting a lot of clean sheets for Ederson going forward. It seems like the Man City defense is just by far the best in the league, so that's going to be a very good thing indeed. In defense, we have got Chilwell. Of course, he's going to be in this team, one of the primary attacking output players from this Chelsea team, and he is listed as a defender, playing very, very advanced on that left-hand side of the pitch. We've still got plenty of really good fixtures for Chelsea, including Nottingham Forest next, and Bournemouth and Fulham in the next 4 too. So definitely really good fixtures, and it's not too late to get involved in some Chilwell points. A little bit unfortunate maybe to not pick up any points in Game Week 3, but going forward Game Week 4, as long as he keeps finding himself in those dangerous areas and perhaps shoots a little bit more often, then he's definitely going to be a player picking up those FPL points. Next up, Rico Henry. I don't think his time is done yet. I still think there's lots to come from the Brentford defender. I feel like Brentford have still looked reasonably solid defensively, and looking through some of these fixtures, Bournemouth, Everton, Forest, definitely clean sheet opportunities here coming up. And Henry is still playing really, really advanced on the left-hand side of defense, getting involved, trying to create for his teammates, take the occasional shot, get in those dangerous areas, and that's going to be really, really valuable when you're picking defenders. You're going to see shortly, guys, that we've picked a lot of really attacking defenders in this team, and Henry is just the latest of them. Still a little bit differential, not too many people invested in the Brentford defense, so that could be a difference maker between you and your FPL rivals. We're going to finish off the defense with Udogie, who is definitely a player who has maybe kind of been seen by a few more people after his nice 12-pointer in Game Week 3, but he's definitely a player that we've all been looking at for a little while. Looked incredibly good pre-season. His numbers and looking at him from his previous seasons in Italy looked really good as well, and now we've seen a little bit of him in the Premier League. We've got a very good idea that we have a very good player on our hands, and a player who is so young, and he's probably going to get better and better as well. So despite the fact that Spurs not completely trusted defensively, what we do have is a really good goalkeeper in Vicario, who is making saves and keeping the goals out of the back of the net, and we've got some good fixtures as well. So Udogie at 4.6 million, I think could be a really, really valuable rotation option in your FPL team. You don't have to play him every single game week, but when you've got fixtures like Burnley and Sheffield United, some good fixtures after of the Arsenal and Liverpool games as well, this could end up being a really, really shrewd kind of pick with clean sheets, a possibility. We've seen 2 clean sheets already for Spurs, and attacking returns as well, as Udogie really likes to charge right up the pitch, get involved, plays fairly centrally in those kind of midfield positions, despite being listed as a defender. So yet another defender who is super attacking, clean sheets and attacking returns on the cards. Let's move into midfield. We've got the star boy Saka. Of course, he's got to be included. Back on penalties. Thank the Lord for that. That was a close one. We thought we might have lost Saka on penalties, but he is back. That's very nice indeed. And he's looked in general pretty good in those open play kind of situations as well. We've got Manchester United next, a Manchester United team that are lacking a little bit on that side of their defence. Luke Shaw is obviously out, and we've seen general fragilities in the Manchester United defence so far this season too. So we thought Man United would be a really difficult defence to crack, but actually maybe not so much, and I think Saka is just in the right kind of position there to take advantage of this situation. It's a home game, it's a must-win game for Arsenal as well if they want to compete at the top of the table. It's going to be a huge game for Saka, and I think he can do some damage. After that, we've got the likes of Everton, the kind of questionable defence of Spurs, and Bournemouth after that as well, so plenty more opportunities for some Saka points. A really important FPL asset, just like Bruno Fernandes, who is putting up some of the best numbers in the entire entire Premier League. His numbers are insane. We saw them in the opening 2 fixtures, and a lot of people were disappointed that he wasn't kind of converting his XG and XA into actual FPL returns, but Game week 3, we finally saw it. Everything started to come together, still generating phenomenal numbers, but actually finishing on his goals, you know, actually getting assists. And we've got penalties there for Bruno Fernandes as well. So much to love about Bruno. I don't still fully trust Arsenal defensively, so I think if anyone is going to do the damage against Arsenal, it possibly is going to be Bruno with his creativity and his shooting and being on penalties and those set pieces. So much there that could go really, really well. Obviously, Mason Mount is not going to be in the team for a little while as well. Neither is Luke Shaw. So that's going to actually give Fernandes more opportunities to be a more attacking player, which is very nice. Taking set pieces off Shaw, playing more advanced as more of a 10. That's going to be hopefully really, really good, not just against Arsenal, but going on against Brighton, who have been a pretty weak defence so far this season, against Burnley after that as well. Bruno Fernandes, I think, is a really nice long-term hold, a pick-and-stick player that you can just keep in your team and will gradually reward you throughout the season, as we kind of saw in that Nottingham Forest game in Game Week 3. We're going to go for Maddison next, a player who was injured, but then wasn't injured, and when he wasn't injured, he proved just how good he is. So, really nice fixtures for Spurs in the next 2, as we know. Then after the difficult games against Arsenal, Liverpool, if you can even call that a difficult game, Arsenal game could be pretty open as well. Big derby there. After that, we've got the likes of, you know, Fulham and Luton. It's going to be a real nice opportunity to get some points from Maddison. And what we've seen so far is that he is the king of everything. At this Spurs team, he's taking the most shots. He's creating the most. He is taking all the set pieces as well. Everything is going through Maddison. So if you think Spurs are going to score goals, and under Ange Postecoglou, this is a team that will score goals, you think that Maddison is going to be involved in the majority of them. And if there's a lot of goals, and if Maddison's involved in the majority of them, that means Maddison is going to get a lot of FPL points. So we're definitely going to see that coming over the next kind of 6 game weeks. I think it looks really good for the Maddison pick. I would be going back in on him, even if you've already sold him. And if I wasn't a wild card, he'd definitely be making the cut, as would Phil Foden. Yes, Phil Foden, actually, according to a lot of the models, and we are going to have a look at the predicted points model at the end of this video. Phil Foden, yeah, he has predicted some really high points. Some really high points. He's probably going to come straight back into this Man City team following that illness that did limit his minutes in Game Week 3. Game Week 1 and 2, he played 90 minutes in each of those games. And I feel like without De Bruyne, Foden's creativity is desperately needed. We saw, you know, we've seen time and again, but we also saw in Game Week 3 that Foden, as soon as he came on just for a few minutes at the end of the game, he got the assist for the goal, and he created another chance for Alvarez as well, which was quite unfortunate that Alvarez was unable to finish that. So Foden definitely going to be really important to create chances for this Man City team. Yes, we could see some potential rotation a little bit down the line, but Foden is explosive. He has phenomenal fixtures, and he's a great differential way to get into the Man City attack and take advantage of these brilliant fixtures, because everyone's got Erling Haaland anyway. You're not going to get any advantages by just having Erling Haaland. You've got to have someone else in there as well to really take advantage of that, and I feel like Phil Foden is the answer to that solution. So up next, Fulham at home, the best attack in the Premier League against the worst defence. Surely that spells FPL points. That's what I think anyway. And we're going to finish off this midfield with Raheem Sterling, the newest hype of the season. Obviously did super well against Luton, and although we have to remember it was just Luton, we also need to remember that against West Ham in Game Week 2, Sterling looked really good there as well, really driving into the box, taking a lot of touches in the box. That's what he's doing at the moment. And when you're in those dangerous kind of areas, you are going to pick up those FPL points, and that's what this game is all about. We've got Nottingham Forest at home next, a team that just got a few goals conceded against them by Manchester United. Can Chelsea go there and do the business as well at home? Why not? I don't see why not. We've got Bournemouth and Fulham in the next 4. These are also really good fixes as well. And maybe Sterling could even do well against Aston Villa, because we saw what Newcastle did against Aston Villa. So, in general, I like Sterling. There is small potential that he could be on penalties as well, but he's definitely a player that looks much more up for it than he has done over the last maybe year, maybe a little bit more than that. He's just looked really up for it. Looks really good to go. He looks back to his best, really, and I feel like we all want to take advantage of that situation. Moving up front, we've got Erling Haaland, of course. He's in every single team I've ever seen ever. 91.3% owned at this point. Can he get up to 100%? I mean, probably not, just by definition, because there's always going to be some people not transferring him in, but hey, he's getting closer and closer, can't he? Fulham at home, like I said, this is the best attacker, really, in Erling Haaland against the worst defense in the league, it's kind of obvious to me that Erling Haaland could come away from this game with 3 or 4 goals. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's definitely on the cards, isn't it? Good fixes after that as well. We've got Wissa to finish off this attack, and I would say this one player is probably the most flexible position, because I do think there are a couple of other options in this forward slot. You could go for the cheap option in Wissa, but I also do like the look of Nicholas Jackson and potentially even Gabriel Jesus. Although maybe Jesus is a player you'd like to maybe transfer in Game Week 5 onwards, I still think he's worth having a little look at now. I feel like from that Everton fixture, Jesus could do really well when he's back in the Arsenal starting 11, safe and secured. He's already had a couple of minutes, hasn't he? So he will be back soon. But yeah, Wissa I've gone for just because he's cheap, and that allows us to build a team here that is going to be within everyone's budget, to keep that kind of team value down a little bit. But if you've got the money to upgrade, absolutely, why not? But Wissa, just to have a Brentford attacker is going to be good. There's no Mbumo in this team, so maybe Wissa against the likes of Bournemouth and Everton and Forest, that could be really, really dangerous for him to do the damage there. His numbers are looking really good. He's known as the best finisher in this Brentford team as well. So everything's looking good for Wissa. I really think he's a fantastic pick. Best value for money forward right now in the game by a long stretch. Is he the best necessarily? No, but value for money, absolutely. We have got a little bit of money spare though, so we do actually have a secret player on the bench I want to share with you guys. So bringing up the bench, we have got Areola first of all. Pretty obvious that he's the best kind of super cheap goalkeeper to go for. Nice backup for Edison, I guess. Not that you'd play him very often, but it's nice to have that backup, right? But we have got Trippier in this team. I've put him on the bench because I would not be looking to play him against Brighton away from home. But moving forward, after that we've got Brentford, and then after that the fixtures for Newcastle look absolutely phenomenal. And what we'll actually find is that even though Trippier doesn't have great fixtures in Game Week 4 or Game Week 5, we can play Udogie maybe in those fixtures, or we can bring in Trippier for Game Week 5 instead of Rico Henry potentially there, when they play each other kind of thing. But yeah, Trippier, I feel like it is very, very soon that he's going to become a really, really nice FPL asset. You know, getting forward, taking those corners, taking those free kicks, creating for his teammates down that right-hand side. All he needs now is to add some clean sheets to it, and he's going to be picking up bonus points even when he doesn't get assists because he's so creative. We just need those clean sheets, and now that the fixtures are about to become better, I think it is a really good time to get him in your team if you're on a wild card. Now, if I'm not on a wild card, I'll probably be waiting 1 or 2 more weeks before bringing him in. But if you're on a wild card, why not have him ready to go? And then he could be one of your main starting players. And really, it would be more like Henry and Udogie rotating from there on. Play whoever has the better fixture, whoever's looking the best at the time. Always benching one of Henry or Udogie. I think that works pretty well, to be fair. We've got Kabore, super cheap defender there at 4 million. And Cameron Archer, the new signing for Sheffield United, completes the bench. He's just 4.5 million, but Sheffield United spent a lot of money on him, so I am expecting him to get regular 90 minutes for Sheffield United, and he's a decent enough player that maybe he could get a few goals as well. I'm not saying right now he's going to be a player that you can actually start, but before long, he could become that guy, or maybe at the very least, a good bench option for those disaster injury situations. So yeah, still a decent pick, I think, at 4.5. So that is going to be the team. I think this is looking really, really strong. This is exactly the kind of team I want to build towards with my own team. Starting this game week, I'm going to start looking at some of these players I don't have, you know, like Maddison and Sterling and Udogie, and I'm going to try and work out how can I get these players into my team. Which kind of route of transfers can I take? Can I wait 1 game week to get certain players, maybe get some others the following game week or the game week after that? How can we do it? How can we build a team like this? Because I love this team. And I'm going to put the captain's armband right now, guys, on Erling Haaland with the vice-captain on Phil Foden there as well to complete what I think is the best possible team to take you from Game Week 4 onwards. But don't just take my word for it. Trust the computers. So, yes, guys, the computers love this team as well. We've got in front of us the Fantasy Football Hub My Team tool to analyze this team and predict how many points it's going to get. We've actually got a 98% team rating on this bad boy, which is super, super high. And a lot of these players have really, really high predicted points by the machine learning tool that they have that predicts points based on previous performances, previous numbers, opposition difficulty, and all other kinds of complicated stuff that is really difficult to do when you're a human, but when you're a computer, you throw all the data together, you build an algorithm, and there you go. So guys, if you want to check out this tool and analyze your own team, then you can actually do so by clicking the link at the top of the description to try it for free. But if you want to get the full version, you can get 50% off right now until the end of August. You basically have 24 hours left to get 50% off this tool and many, many others, including the AI transfers tool that tells you which transfers you should make, prioritizes which transfers you should make in your FPL team. It's a great way to get a second opinion on your team, like having an expert there ready to go just to analyze your team whenever you want. It is so handy. Just upload your team and have a look at it there. And yeah, like I say, 50% off, but only for the next 24 hours. So make sure if you have any interest in this tool, try it out, give it a go, have a look at some of the tools available. It's your last chance, guys. But yeah, like I say, it's looking good. Phil Foden, 5.9 predicted points. And I found this very interesting when I was building this team. It's actually, I know a lot of us are talking about the likes of Sterling and Maddison, but actually, Phil Foden has the higher predicted points over the next kind of 4, 5, 6 game weeks. He really does. So kind of 5.9 predicted points against Fulham there, you can see, which is higher than Sterling's 5.3. It's higher than Maddison's 5.2. And it kind of goes on pretty consistently from there. So just to have a look, a little bit further detail. We've got 6.2 predicted points against Forest. That's absolutely insane. We've got 5.5 against Wolves there as well, which is pretty good. 5.6 against Brighton, because Brighton are putting up pretty weak defensive numbers. Foden actually looks really, really decent for now. Maybe a player you wouldn't want to hold long term, but really some really good opportunities here to go as well. We've got Sterling and Maddison. They look okay as well. But another player that I do want to point out is Bruno Fernandes. Despite the fact you might say some of these fixtures are kind of difficult, the AI is actually predicting that he's going to do quite well. We've got the likes of 6.1 points versus Brighton. We've got 6.1 against Palace, 6.1 against Brentford as well there. So even in those slightly more difficult fixtures, actually he's kind of predicted to do quite well. So this is looking actually really, really good. Like I say, we've got a 98% team rating. We can go through each game week. So game week 5, you would make a switch. You would put Henry on the bench and Trippier would start. Game week 6, you might put Udogie on the bench when he plays against Arsenal, and then Henry comes in for that fixture. So yeah, that also shows you how you can go through each week and kind of move things about a little bit. You know, you could maybe in game week, go back to game week 5. We could maybe switch out Wissa when he plays against Newcastle. You don't fancy him. Maybe that's the point to go for Gabriel Jesus if you have the budget to do that. Maybe not if you've got Trippier, but maybe that can show you, okay, maybe I can't afford Trippier. Maybe we go for Botman on the wild card instead. Maybe he's the player to target because he's going to be getting some game time from then, and suddenly we can afford this team. So really nice to play about with your team like this, see what's possible, see what's not possible, and stuff like that basically. So yeah, like I say, guys, try it out and get 50% off whilst you still can. Links in the description. Super, super powerful tool. One of many of their super, super powerful tools. Yeah, definitely recommend it. I use it all the time. So do all of, like, a lot of the top FPL managers. It's just that good. But yeah, enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like. It really, really does help out the channel. Do subscribe if you're new around here. We're going to try and smash out videos over the next 24, 48 hours before the deadline, just because there's a lot of content to make. But aside from that, thank you so much for watching. Once again, check out this video right here, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.